Open with the prayer. Representative New.
Thank you. May we bow our heads. Dear Lord, be with us today. Watch over us, lead us, keep us, and guide us. And make sure that we have an open heart, an open mind for all things good for Georgia. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So we'll begin with subcommittee report from Resource Management. Representative Vance Smith. What's your number if you'll press it? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we had a meeting. We've had a couple subcommittee meetings, had 3 bills. I'm going to start with Mr. Corbett. He's here.
I need you to report out of committee to the full committee.
Okay.
Just the bill number and whether it if it passed or not.
Representative Corbett's bill was HB 1338, and it passed out of subcommittee.
Okay, and then the other two.
Okay, and then we had House Bill 1146, and it passed out of subcommittee. That's Representative Ron Stevens.
Okay.
And the last bill is HB 1294, Representative Clay Perkle, Chairman Clay Perkle, and it passed out of subcommittee.
Thank you for the report. So we have 3 bills before the full committee. And as I have 2 committee members here, I will call up Representative Ron Stevens first, as he has other meetings to go to as well.
I will do my best to be brief on an issue that is near and dear to all of us. We come Monday morning, we're going to have the chairman of Hyundai Motor Group here. As you know, we've got the a project down in our area that is 8 times larger than anything we've ever done in the state, and we've got a lot of commitments. One of those had to do with workforce housing. Currently, we're having an issue with getting water from the fastest growing county in the entire state, which is Bryan County. Madam Chairman, what we have in front of us is a mechanism that allows local, the largest water system in the whole state, to provide service in an area if they have capacity, where the county may not. You may not know that Bryan County, of course, has just adopted a service delivery strategy, and we've had an adjacent county, which this system is already working, that allowed for the development of homes in an area where the county could not, and that's in Chatham County. They've allowed for development. Homes are there, and they've done it in a very responsible way. So what we have here is, if you're a county that cannot provide service within 18 months, a year and a half, into an area, and if a private water system has permit, then that gives them the authority to go in and be permitted to withdraw if they have capacity. That's basically the bottom line, Madam Chairman. It'll sunset, of course, and this is just a trigger and a sunset to allow for growth that we have promised and given lots of tax incentives to come down and produce these jobs. That's it in a nutshell, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you for the bill. On our sheet, we show 12 months. So can you explain how it went from 12 months to 18 months?
Yes, ma'am. We wanted to give the county the opportunity, which does not currently have a water system, to provide one, and of course to be able to go out and provide the service. We thought it was fair for the county to have the extra time, so we put this additional time to give the county the opportunity to do it.
Thank you. At this point in time, at the committee, if you have any questions, please press your buttons and we'll get to you as soon as you can. Give us your name and number 27.
Representative Joe Campbell, thank you. I'd like to do a due pass at the proper time.
All right, it's not the proper time right now, so we'll, number 28.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chairman, for bringing this bill. Do you anticipate this problem, this bill impacting any other areas of our state in the meantime? Could you kind of address that issue?
Yep. Excellent question. I do not. This of course is narrowly drawn for our area down on the coast. As the rest of the committee knows, I'm sure, we're in an area that is in the red zone for withdrawal, if you will. That zone was created to prevent saltwater intrusion a few years ago. It was anticipated at the time that we were going to have saltwater intrusion within 100 years. And because of the conservation measures, especially with our private water systems, we've pushed that back to 200 years. So they're doing the things that's needed, but I don't anticipate this coming up again. And I suspect that the county will actually have an incentive to move forward. We want surface water as the end use of this stuff, and I believe this will stimulate them to do that.
Thank you.
Number 7.
I'm Representative Viola Davis. Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman. I'm a follow up on the prior question. I saw this would be classified as a preemption bill, right? It removes local control after 12 months?
If after 18 months.
After 18 months, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
And it would only happen on the coastal, I think on page, it says the coastal areas.
Yes, ma'am.
It wouldn't affect urban areas at all.
No, ma'am. And this is only if they cannot or plan to have water in that particular area.
Okay, and one more follow-up. I didn't know that EPD is involved in servicing water. Has that been something they normally do?
Yes, ma'am. It
Okay.
requires a permit for EPD to issue permits for groundwater withdrawal.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 18, your name and then your question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Deborah Bazemore, thank you for bringing the bill. I just have a question for you. How does this bill impact the 20-plus year investment that the state has made in the regional water planning efforts?
Not at all. If the local system has water withdrawal permit capacity, then this allows them, after 18 months, for the local private system to provide water. It doesn't impact it at all. It has to do with the amount of capacity that a water system has. Bryan County does not have a water system currently.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have number, let's see, 24.
Thank
State
you,
your
Madam
name.
Chair. Representative Vance Smith. Isn't it true, Chairman Stevens, that moving that number from 12 months to 18 months, it gives, of course, 6 more months, but it gives another full session that when we come back next year, the clock will still be running, and if there's some adjustments that need to be made at that time, we can do that.
The gentleman is correct, and that's, of course, another reason that we wanted to extend this out, to make sure that the county had every opportunity to go out and supply water. Thank you for that.
And number 26.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Clay Perkle. So I think from the last 3 questions, you provide in here 18 months, if I'm not mistaken. 18 months for the public system to provide water.
Or have a plan to provide water.
Or even have a plan to provide water
Yes, sir.
at the appropriate time, Madam Chair.
Well, you're second in line at the appropriate time, so I will go to Representative Campbell, sir. Proper
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, now's the time to do pass.
Move to pass, and then Chairman Perkle, if you will
Second, please.
second. So we have a motion and a second. The bill is before the committee for a vote. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Thank you, Madam
Sir,
Chairman.
you have your bill.
you,
Hurry and
ma'am.
get it to, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. Have to be louder for me. I'm sorry. Okay, no. 1 no. We will reflect 1 no in the record.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Let's just do a show of hands here. How many are for the bill? Please raise your hand. And how many nays? 4. All right, sir. 5. All right. Good morning, everybody. So, so you have your bill, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to House Bill 1338.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, House Bill 1338, LC 442771S. Do we have that substitute in front of us? All right. Well, thank you again, Madam Chair. Again, we had a quite a good meeting yesterday afternoon to talk about this. Took comment from everybody involved. Basically, what we're doing with House Bill 1338, we're placing a moratorium on EPD's acceptance of any new applications for permits beginning July 1, 2024 until June 30, 2027. And this moratorium is only in effect for heavy mineral sands mining that utilize drag lines. As most of you know, over the last several years, we've been dealing with a mining permit in my district, and the EPD has issued a draft permit that came out about 2 weeks ago. So this draft permit application was for a demonstration area. They shrunk the initial permit area down from the whole area to just a demonstration mine. So what we're doing, we're putting a moratorium for 3 years this to give them the opportunity to demonstrate. If they get the permit, they still got a 60-day public comment period with the EPD, and once they take those comments and review them, address those concerns, if the permit is issued, then this will give us 3 years worth of data. And we heard yesterday from them, there's data they have to turn in reports to the EPD, daily, weekly, monthly reports. So you'll have 3 years worth of data. So we're doing a demonstration mine to collect this data. So this is just putting a moratorium on the acceptance of any applications for permits. So like I said, we heard this in committee yesterday, and I would, any questions, I'll glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So let me make a record of our question numbers, and we'll start with number 15. If you'll state your name and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Mary Frances Williams, District 37, Marietta, Cobb. So, Representative Corbett, one of my questions is, there was a comment by, comment by EPD yesterday, and I don't know if there's someone from EPD in the room today, but my concern is that, and I'm looking at lines 19 through 29, that looking at the timeline for approval of the permit after administrative law judge, it looks like the permit will be affirmed if the administrative law judge does not meet the timeline. And I have a problem with a permit being approved just because someone can't meet a deadline, and I mean, that doesn't seem like a good reason for approving a permit. And it was when we were asking EPD about it yesterday, it was my understanding that he said that they still had some work to do to work out the timelines, and so I was a little surprised when we moved ahead with this bill, because it seemed that he was saying the EPD had not really worked out all the timelines and how this was going to affect that.
Okay. Well, thank you for I think there's a question in there somewhere, but I'll try to answer that concern. I think what was stated yesterday, that what's in law now is the review process. The permit has already been applied for. It might take this application they've applied for now has taken 7 years. So that permit that still has to go through that process to get to there. Then the judicial review of that's where the timeline already in existing law is set at 90 days. This goes to 180. So that's what we're setting the time on the back end, where they don't drag it out after this permit. Like I said, we've been 7 years in this process to get to the judicial review part that they have 90 days in code now. We're going to 180.
Well, yeah, follow up. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So that's not really my question. My question is more about the automatic approval if the deadline is not met by, if the timeline is not met by administrative court. And also, if EPD is in the room and can speak to that, I'd appreciate it.
And on the timeline, and I think the comment the director made yesterday, that we are working with the courts to make sure that timeline works, and if we need to do something in the future, and not in the future, in the process, we work this bill through the House and the Senate. If we need to adjust that for to give them more time, we're willing to do that, and that's what we're working with them and the Attorney General to do that, to come up with, if they need more time. We've not had any response yet from that they need more time.
Madam Chair? So you're not really getting to the crux of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is timeline is one issue. But for me, the more important issue is that a permit can be approved simply by someone not doing their job or not doing their job in time, which to me is different from the timeline. It's not about the timeline. It's about an approval based on timelines not being met. And I think that is I don't think that's the way to issue a permit, because someone's failed to do their job in time. I mean, so that's what I'm talking about, not the timeline, but the fact that there'll be an automatic approval if they don't meet the timeline.
But again,
Why don't we do this? I'll see our EPD director under a dark cloud in the back and ask him if he'll come forward.
all right.
And please briefly explain this for our committee.
Yeah, can I phone a friend?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm Jeff Cowan. I think the question is, it does state in the proposed bill that after the 180 days, it is affirmed by law. This is a process from the Office of State Administrative Hearings. It's not an EPD process. And I've let them know, and I'm waiting for them to give me any comments on that, on if they have any issues with that. That's where we are currently.
Thank you. You might just want to stay there. Okay, thank you. Number 16, state your name and your question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Carla Drenner, District 85. Madam Chair, I have two questions, if it's okay. My first question is, in the bill specifically, what does this require? The chairman said that it requires data collection. I don't see anywhere in the bill that says that they will data collect, analyze, and do what with this information.
You're correct, ma'am. The bill does not require data collection. It does. The draft permits have data collection in them. If permits are issued, they'll have data collection in them that we will receive and review and look at. The bill just says a 3-year moratorium for accepting no more applications. So in essence, we would have 3 years before another application came on board to collect the required information in the current applications and draft permits.
Follow-up question, Madam Chair. So no more applications from another company, or no more applications for Twin Pines?
Any company that would mine heavy mineral sands with a dragline operation for 3 years.
For 3 years, okay. Last question, Madam Chair, to the author of the bill. So Twin Pines has invested 7 years worth of effort into this particular project. Is that true?
That is true.
And so does this moratorium, is it designed to just protect Twin Pines? Is that the intent of the bill?
I don't think it's designed to protect anybody. I think it's designed to allow us to collect data with this demonstration plot that the present permit draft permit has been issued for. So I think it's not protect anybody. I think it's protect where we can get the data going forward, where we can make better informed decisions, going forward.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Number 17.
Debbie Buckner, and I've been receiving some calls about our meeting yesterday on several bills. And one of the questions I got about this one is, will this bill have an impact or an effect on mines other places that might have, say, kaolin deposits or have other rare earths that are found. They're concerned that there might be something in this bill that would have an impact on them.
It will not. That's why we tailored it very narrowly to just dragline mining of heavy mineral sands.
But it can be dragline mining anywhere in the state?
Heavy mineral sands is the qualifier on that. So they're the only ones doing this type of mining. The kaolin mines does not fit that description.
But others,
you have
follow up,
yeah.
other sand mines in the state might be affected?
No other company is doing this type of mining with a dragline.
Okay, thank you.
Follow up? Did you have?
It was just interesting that you said and no other company is doing this. It sure is beginning to feel like this bill is to protect a particular company. I'm sorry.
Is it not true? Is that a question or a statement?
Is it not true?
Okay.
Well, if you heard the testimony yesterday, they were not happy with the bill either because it's putting a moratorium on them applying for an application going, forward. So they're not happy with that moratorium. So.
I see no further questions. This is, all right, number 29.
Movement do pass.
There's a move do pass in a second. So the bill is now before the committee. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor of the bill, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. All right, so let's do a show of hands. Nay.
Madam Chair.
All right, that's my fault. If you're for it, show me your hands. If you wish to bury it, show me your hands. In heavy sands. All right, with the dragline. Okay. Thank you. The bill is a due pass. You have your bill.
Thank you, members of the committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So before the committee, we have one more bill. Representative Clay Perkle. Go ahead. Yes.
All right. Well,
sorry.
thank you. I was waiting for you to give me the go ahead.
I just wanted to see if you could be quiet for a minute. So
It's very difficult as I was getting dressed this morning to make sure I put on my lucky breeches as we got started in the process. So I think it's important. Thank you for listening to me on this bill, 1294. I think it's important we need to know where bills come from. It's kind of cool sometimes when it impacts your district, or this is a passion of mine, or where it came from. So this is a lobbyist has talked to me about this, or it came from a constituent. This bill for me actually is just a personal one. So I was asked the question yesterday in the hearing. What does Chifa feel about this bill? And I said, well, honestly, I told them after I dropped the bill. So this did not come from them. It did not come from MEAG. It came because we're out of gas. We're out of natural gas in my community. There is no additional capacity for economic development with medium or heavy manufacturing jobs that we all want in our communities. And I don't have access to that in my community. We have land, we have water, we have a wonderful community. It is a place that I chose to live and raise my children. But the economic opportunities are limited for the future because we have absolutely tapped out the resources that we have. Natural gas capacity is a pinch point in economic development in many parts of the state. Some communities have zero excess capacity, and some have zero natural gas in order to attract industries that we want for our kids to stay and live and work in the same place that we chose to stay and live and work. This bill merely provides authorization for Chifa to provide financing opportunities for natural gas projects for cities and counties across the state. This is a natural extension of their mission in providing financing opportunities to cities and counties for already they do water, they do sewer, they do solid waste infrastructure. In fact, there are presently opportunities for the conversion of solid waste into natural gas in a symbiotic relationship. There are currently 18 landfills in the state of Georgia of a solid waste that use solid waste for renewable natural gas. They are converting what we have is a waste product, and they're making something that we can use to drive our trucks and to turn industry from this solid waste. There are 370, I can't read my writing. It's 330, I think, anaerobic digesters systems in livestock facilities in the U.S. Where you use, let's see, how do you put this? Waste products from animals, and we use that in an anaerobic digesting system to create natural gas. It's methane that's converted into natural gas that we can use. EPA estimates that there are over 8,000 potential sites to do this. This is just I only said to say this. This is a natural extension of what we already do with GFA in funding water, sewer, solid waste, natural gas. The 2023 annual report for GFA reads this way, and I'll quote, "We have prioritized funding for communities with limited access to financial markets. GFA understands it can be challenging for some communities to invest in infrastructure. This is what they do. I can't imagine a more important program growth need than natural gas availability in the most economically distressed parts of the state." We don't want a handout. We just need a helping hand. And I would ask you that you would give parts of the state that don't have full access. So many of you probably have plenty of opportunities for natural gas in your part of the state. You know, that's the way it is. But I promise you there's a lot of us that don't. And no handout, helping hand would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
You have one question, number 12. State your name and ask your question, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John Corbett. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing this bill. You and I have talked on this, was on the Rural Development Council, and I believe that was one of the recommendations that come out of there. You know, I have a county that fits that description in my district. They're one of the, I think, 5 in the state that do not have natural gas. Very expensive to run gas there. It's not necessarily the installation of the pipe itself, but you got to go back upstream. The volume's not there. They got to go back up and raise the pressure back upstream, and that's very expensive, and that's it's very costly. So this would be much needed in my district. I appreciate you bringing the bill. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and honestly, it is part of the same conversation that we had over the last 5 years regarding rural broadband. So where did broadband first go? It went where people are, and that's how it is. I mean, that's the way our capital markets are supposed to work. But at some point in time, we've waited in line for quite a while, and it'd be wonderful to have access to some of these resources that everyone else has access to.
Thank you. Question number 18. State your name and ask your question, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. And my name is Deborah Bazemore, District 69. So I believe I understand the purpose of the bill. However, you said you had not spoken to GFA.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody in here from GFA that we can hear from?
Now that I would not know. I did not speak to GFA before I dropped the bill. I have talked to them afterwards. And they did not raise concerns with me about this mission enhancement.
So, Chair, is there anyone from GFA present this morning? We do have someone. Sir, would you come to the mic and
Thank you.
state your name and help clarify that? Thank you.
My name is Shane Hicks.
Oh, wait a minute. It's my fault. Let me get you started. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Shane Hicks. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and IT for the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. And yeah, we, as a state agency, we serve, at the pleasure of the governor and the legislature. And of course, if this is something that the legislature and governor would see fit for us to do, we would implement that like we do our other water and wastewater and sewer programs, and also our energy financing programs.
Thank you. Let's
Thank
see.
you.
Is there a follow-up question?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. And since, sir, Mr. Nix, just if you'll come back for just a second, you're an unknown state agency, so to speak, until something like this comes up, and you really carry a heavy load for our state without much recognition. So I just want to thank y'all for what you do. You've carried us with funding through the water crisis. You've done so many different things that have helped keep our state together in difficult times. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We have another question, number 7. State your name.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Representative Viola Davis, District 87. My question was for GFA also, not to leave you out. But thank you so much for bringing this, because we are also converting our landfill waste
Yes, you are.
into energy. So it's
Doing a good job.
Thank you so much. My question is for you. The financing, would it be loans and/or grants, or a combination of the both? As far as the financing,
it most likely would be low interest loans through our Georgia fund, through our state funded loan program, would be my understanding at this point.
Now, I've been researching some of these funding mechanisms, and I have seen where some of them are attached to maps. And when I look at the legend of the maps, it actually identifies districts and regions and counties that are excluded from the funding. When it comes to GFA, can you give me some idea of, do you follow that same rule? Are there some areas that are excluded from this funding?
Our funding reaches all parts of the state. So, and GFA, of course, was originally created to support our more disadvantaged rural communities, but over the years, of course, our financing has touched just about every community in the state that has a public, water or wastewater system.
So every
Further question? Yes.
Follow up, Madam Chair. So every county can basically access this funding?
Yeah, if you have a public water system, for example, on the water, wastewater, then you can come to GFA for financing. And of course, we'll have to see, how this program would be implemented should it pass, but I would expect it to be very, very similar.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. And one more, all right, number 12, is your question for GFA or for the presenter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At proper time, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, so not the proper time yet, because I see one more question, number 16.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Drenner.
Yes, ma'am.
District 85. First of all, I love anaerobic digestion, and just so you know,
That has not been said very often. but
Right,
thank you for that.
I do. It's a technology that has come a long way. My question has to do with lines 44 through 48, and I'm just curious, Mr. Chairman, does this bill
Just a minute, please. Do we need GFA up here anymore?
No.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your patience. Thank you.
Does this bill give local governments eminent domain to take private land for gas pipelines?
So this does not expand, as my understanding, and there you are much more knowledgeable than I am, and I might have to look to lead counsel for this. Lines 44 through 48 only expands the mission of GFA. This has nothing to do with the public domain abilities of cities and counties for you know, the greater public good, as the public domain often is. This is in the GIFA code section. This does not relate to cities and counties. This, so if you look on number A, B, C, and D, it talks about this mission purpose for GIFA in water and sewer and solid waste, and we're adding natural gas.
Follow up.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. It does cross-reference with OCGA Title 36 -91-100, and that does have something to do with the abilities of local governments and eminent domain.
Okay. I can't answer your question. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you. And number 12,
I make a motion to pass.
is there a second? So the bill is before the committee. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. All right, so this time we're going to do a show of the ayes, if you'll raise your hands. Thank you. And the nays, if you'll raise your hands. Okay, thank you. You have your bill. Your bill is passed.
Thank you.
This completes the meeting of Natural Resources. We go into session at 9 o'clock, so it explains our more rushed meetings and blocked up meetings this morning. But please pay attention to the postings on our bill, on our poster outside the house, and any notices that go out via email. Thank you very much.